Game number 1, our red Zerg player for Team NV. This is DRG.
And in the top right-hand corner, this is a name that I have not said in so long. I don't think I've actually ever said it in a proper cast, so this is my first time. I'm very excited because I remember this player. Ladies and gentlemen, FORGG, it is FORGG.
I don't have on my screen, and you may have to assist me with this, but like when I think of FORGG, I know FORGG's been around a long time. I can't say that I have recollection of recent accomplishments or even like major accomplishments back in his time, because it's for me, like if the player wasn't prominent from Heart of the Swarm on, I'm not as familiar. And I know FORGG was kind of an older player. I imagine Wings of Liberty heavy. What do you know?
Yeah, so FORGG has recently kind of come back. To give you an idea of how long ago it was since FORGG played, FORGG was playing around the same time that Pult was playing.
Oh, baby, okay.
Yeah, so we're talking, you know, Pult, Hydra, you know, Lilbo.
Okay,
you know, yeah, we're talking the olden days here of StarCraft 2, and FORGG was kind of a terror in the WCS events. FORGG was extremely good, pretty much barely lost to foreign players. I don't think he ever really had super big success, as in like finals. I don't know if he ever quite made it to that level, but after 2015, that's when he left, and then actually came back in 2020, 5 years later, and since then it's actually, I mean, it does pretty decently. Has been playing in a lot of the ESL Open Cups, does decently well there, but hasn't been able to quite make it into a GSL and make it into a deep run quite yet.
Well, maybe this is going to be FORGG's opportunity here in the Group B losers final. Winner out of this series advances into Code S for Season 1. And DRG is going to do everything he possibly can to prevent that from happening here. He's going to go down for a 345 road. Well, 330 roach, rather. This has been building for a little while. And it is Cloak Banshee out of the Terran players. So some commonalities in their builds here for game number 1. But I think what might be more interesting to me is the lack of a third base. Like, not even one producing. It looks like there might be room for one in the wall eventually, but we've seen so many players go for that really early third base, and it is noticeably absent here in game number 1 for FORGG.
Yeah, as that roach production has started, so we are going to see DRG here go for a little bit of pressure, try and hold on with these roaches and lings. We'll see if he adds on any more. That's kind of the indicator, really, if DRG wants to go for something like an all-in off of this. But hey, roaches, they're going to do pretty good against these Hellions. They're going to try and poke on in. They're going to straight towards the main base. 4 Hellions still alive now as immediately the block tries to happen, but it doesn't go off. And once again, DRG loses a little bit here to the Hellions. Only 5 drones do go down, but bringing them back, the shot is not enough. Oh, almost lost his entire drone line, but only loses 6 drones in the end.
Yeah, gosh, that was terrifying seeing them all line up perfectly. The Banshee, though, comes back for a little bit of return damage. There's no lair just yet. It's about 50% of the way done. But Spore Crawlers do seem to be in a decent supply. This one's actually not quite done here at the natural, so I think that will finally allow for some additional kills here. 9 drones in total for DRG. Not really doing a great job of preventing that kind of damage, but look at this double armory back behind this choice. We've got FORGG going into mech.
Mech it is, and well, there's roaches on the doorstep, so that Banshee that is finishing up will have to be used for the defense, which, I mean, that's what the Banshees really are for, is they really can secure some defenses. 12 drones have gone down in total. That Banshee continuing to harass at the third base now. As the SCVs are being brought up, might look for a surround here onto the roaches. The lings are focusing down the CC that is building. Is there a cancel onto it? Looks as though it was. Banshee should be able to hold on so far. Actually, some great micro with these SCVs. Only now are they going to start to go down. 7, 8, 9 in total falling before the lings are eventually cleaned up. A 10th gets picked off. I think FORGG, I mean, it's a bit of damage, but you're not the most upset about it. I mean, you're still in a decent spot, 41 SCVs to 58 drones. It's not the best spot, but you manage to hold on. You don't die, especially, and you still have these Banshees available to you. And FORGG is going up to 4 Banshees.
Yeah, I mean, he needs to start finding some major damage with the Banshees in a very quick order. Getting a cancel on the command center was a very important play here for DRG because it does reset the timer on getting that economy boosted once again and picking up additional workers. I mean, bringing it up to 11 kills total here so far is about what DRG needed to make happen for that, but he's not quitting here. He wants to double down again. He's going to get Dropper Lords going here, and if we start seeing Dropper Lords with Roaches, you had a Baneling Nest on there, and we start getting Dropper Lords with Banes, I mean, this could start to get really chaotic here for the Terran player.
Yeah, as Queens are going to be brought over to defend against these Banshees. That's Hyperflight Rotors on the way. This is some crazy play here from our Terran player. Isn't going to be able to snipe off the Queen. A nice transfuse and has to just back on out. Thor is on the way, but I mean, DRG is kind of towing the line. It's finally going to say, all right, I'm going for it. I'm going to start just producing only units. These few Roaches are going to come across the map, but you already do have Thors out, and honestly, Thors do pretty good against these Roaches. Those Dropper Lords are going to fill on up here with Queens. But, I mean, be careful here, DRG. You don't want to lose all your units before you actually come across the map. And look at that. It's 5 Banshees. Those shred through Roaches pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say they can almost one-tap these Roaches. Not quite, but just enough for it to count. But the Queens have been brought into the fight. They immediately cloak him back up, and FORGG has to be in damage control mode. He's got to figure it out right now. Immediately going to try and move this third base out of the way, but the Dropper Lords repositioning those Queens in such an interesting way here. Thor's going to try and soften them up, though, so that does provide for an interesting situation here. And I think we're just getting a little like sneak peek of what Queen drops are going to be looking like here in the future with the Bash. Creep going down every possible which way, and Ravagers are going to be able to trade much more efficiently here with these Banshees. Some great bios here to pick off a few of these units, but the repair coming down on this Thor. This Thor is trying to be an immortal, and he is able to succeed right now. FORGG able to stop this whole push here, and he didn't lose a single thing economically.
That was such a good hold from FORGG. I mean, the Banshees raining down from above. The Thor is getting so much value. It felt like the Ravagers might be able to do it, but they weren't able to land their bios quick enough. And now you're going to have Hyperflight Rotors with these Banshees. You're going to have continued Thor production. This is such an old school style. I think if Special was messing around with a build like this, where you go with just speed Banshees and Thors. You know, this is not something that is very common. It's a build that not a lot of players really bring to matches like this, but FORGG need to try and make it work. And well, so far has been able to hold on. And I mean, if he can start to get damage done with these Banshees, if he can start to defend, you know, pick off units, then he's in a really good spot. This game is the dive on top of the Thor, but the repair comes through. And yeah, it's +1/+1 mech.
Yeah, those Thors are sturdy enough as it is, but 17 kills on that Thor. Again, he is doing his best cosplay of an immortal right now as he continues to stand. And I mean, 11 kills, 32. There's so much damage here. And FORGG is going to pull off the third here. He's done with this game. He doesn't want to play it anymore. He's just going to march across the map. This many Thors against this few of Roaches is just going to spell disaster here for DRG as the team starts being brought into his face. The Banshees get that high ground vision and are able to dash in and out, but it creates a nice little avenue for these units to get up in there. The SCVs are up at the front. Is that going to be able to create enough of a buffer here for these Thors to get to work? It is a lot of damage, and there's so many SCVs still around, and they're going to start repairing that forward Thor. The base goes down here at the 4th location, and I just don't see a scenario where things are going to be able to turn it around, but Mutas are going to try and make it happen for DRG.
26 workers go down behind us. The natural and the third have been cleaned out. That means that FORGG is all in. These Thors trying to make it work. Now, mind you, they are an ion payload. They're not going to have the AoE damage for these Mutas. This 2-2 is not finished up yet for FORGG as the Mutas are going to dive on in. The Ravagers as well. Corrosive Vials going down. And the Thors are going to focus on the Mutalist as the Ravagers and Roaches just dive on in. Repairs trying their best. The Mutalists are all going to fall, but it might just be enough. The Thors are going to start to go down. The HP is depleted. And the repairs just might be enough, though. The Thors just being able to hold on. They're going to be able to push down now the natural.
Yeah, once the mutas are out of the air, there's nothing to take down the Banshees that are just going to continue wailing away on all the ground force. And FORGG stands in the face of his Zerg opponent and says, "You will not stop my unstoppable push." Game 1 goes to the Terran player.
Man. You know, one part of me is happy that DRG shortened his name to just those 3 letters, and then another part of me is very sad that he did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something about the original, you know? Doesn't quite have the same ring as Dong Regu.
Well, see, as like a North American fan, like I always follow the path of like 2 players from North America. Of course, like you can follow Special, who had many big username changes. I mean, playing under the username Major for a very long time. Of course, his most recent and most long-term name has been Special. But then there's also the discourse with Neeb. There was that brief period of time that he was playing with Neeblet on his major, official quote-unquote accounts. So I got to ask you, are you a Neeb fan or are you a Neeblet fan?
See, when it comes down to it, I always like, I feel like Neeb, you know, it's a good name. It's 1 syllable, it's simple, it's quick, you know, it's the original. I feel like when you add the let, it doesn't have the same ring to it, you know, because it's an extra little add-on. You can really feel that you're, you know, there's an extra step there that you're having to take to say it. So, you know, I think I would say I'm more of just a straight Neeb fan.
Fair, that's fair. I gotta say that I'm a pro Neeb stand for sure.
Yeah.
But I really hearing you out here. This is a pretty stock standard opening here for both players, so nothing out of pocket for either players. Don't get too pressed. What are they talking about?
Talk about the game.
So, okay, now we got something fun to talk about here.
Fusion
Core? What year is it? Is this like? I know this replay is broken because it's on a somehow old patch now, but like, is this from 2022 or 2019? I can't tell.
Man, who do you think you are, Maru? No one does this anymore. As Maru has actually been bringing back the VC style a little bit recently with his mech play and doing it to quite good effect, actually. Been playing very, very well with it. However, FORGG here going to try and see if he can make it work. And, well, so far DRG not able to get any scouting. One major difference that you see between Korean and the European Zergs that are at the top of their respective scenes is the scouting. And this is just something that I say, like when you look at a player like a Serral, when Maru does go for his BC build, when he does, I mean, no matter what the opening is, what you'll oftentimes see from Serral is he'll go for that pneumaticized carapace very, very early. He'll say, listen, it's only 100 minerals gas. It is absolutely worthwhile for me to get that and to know what my opponent is doing so I can then hold it off without taking any damage.
Yeah, I mean it's a good investment if you can find that good scouting information. But you know, I think DRG did manage to get a decent amount here. He's been able to see on multiple different occasions that there is a tech lab and the starboard is producing, but there's nothing coming out of the tech lab. So there's not many cases that you're going to opt for the tech lab and you won't do something specific like a Liberator or a Viking. Like that just doesn't seem to be optimal in any way, shape, or form. So I think seeing that is not a huge tell, but I think it's good information for DRG at this point, as he is working on getting some spore crawlers up. I mean, that's obviously going to need to be a much bigger investment, but there goes the first battlecruiser blink, and it's just going to jump on in. Like, this is not even going to wait here. An armory was already completed as well, so that means Hellbats are going to be in great form, and they're already pre-split out Firebird. This could not have been a stronger engagement here for FORGG, but that battlecruiser is getting awful low.
Yeah, the Queen Folk's Fire is good. They're starting to get very, very low on their HP. The roaches are out, however, and that means this battlecruiser is going to get pushed back, and it's actually very low. DRG is just going to chase it down, and the first PC falls. And that is absolutely disastrous for FORGG. I mean, it's a great idea on the timing attack, but losing that BC, you just cannot allow that to happen. The Folk's Fire from DRG, the stutter step with the Queens, it was enough. And now you have roaches coming back across the map. The second BC didn't start in production. One of the ways that you do stop this from happening is you actually fake the cloak on your tech lab. It's such a great way to try and trick the Zerg into thinking that you're going Banshees, you know, just something. But FORGG did not have that in the back of his mind. And now, well, you got Hellions against some roaches here, and that's obviously not the best.
This is actually going to go from bad to worse here because DRG has absolutely all the information in the world, but there's nothing to stop these roaches on the opposite side of the map. A couple of Hellbats, that's not going to be near enough. So these units are going to find a lot of worker kills. Workers all have to get pulled off of the line. It is a ton of Fight Club on the line. Meanwhile, Hellion's going to try and find some additional damage, but they're not going to get nearly enough here. There's still 7 roaches working away on this ramp, and that's going to be almost 30 worker kills there, plus mules, plus additional units back at home. 2 drones have gone down, and the damage has been dealt with. That's an easy trade. You make that trade all day if you're Team Envy's DRG. He's going to be feeling really great about this call. And effectively right now, I mean, the game's over. It's 99-46. Even with 1 battlecruiser in the air, that's not going to be the response that you need for FORGG. He is up a creek right now, and there's mutas on the way. This game's over.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of looking at the Destiny GG timing here as FORGG is sitting at 30 workers. Yeah, it's not good. I'm just going to say that. It's not good. There's definitely a lot more that you could have wanted from that. I mean, had even you just had, for instance, that BC out a little bit sooner, it could have defended a bit better. That was not the case. It was not out quick enough. Just really anything. I mean, one thing that you sometimes see is maybe a Banshee right after the battlecruiser can help with that hold. FORGG didn't have anything. It's completely smashed. Loses so many workers, and he's going to try and fight back into this game, but now Mutalisks are out. And guess what? Your BC's across the map. You have no anti-air, and this should very much be GG. There we go. DRG going to tie it up.
All right, barracks.
And there's no proxy barracks.
I was going to say barracks in normal location. This is a good sign so far. Good sign so far. And normal hatchery timing, normal location. We're just going to get ourselves a nice, slow little opening here for map number 3. You know, like something that's interesting, because I guess it is relevant now, because we now suddenly have a surprise patch on all 3 servers. All of these games have been played off of that patch, and I believe that means, I mean, maybe qualifiers are different than the main event, but I believe that means all of our main event games are going to be played off of the new patch as well. So, wonder with me. What are the most interesting things that you are looking forward to in the new patch?
Yeah, I'm not sure if, I don't know if there is any knowledge whether or not GSL will be playing on it or not, or what tournaments will be played on what, with it dropping. But I definitely do know there's a lot of interesting things that happen. I know that DT Blink did get nerfed. Widow Mines with Drilling Claws did get nerfed. Queens off Creep can no longer transfuse, which I think there's a lot of interesting things that are going to be kind of now into this. As I'm not going to get the full list up and start to list off all of the changes that have ended up coming through, but I mean, if you're looking at them, I think really the big things are Lurkers, the Adaptive Talons, the Widow Mines, and then of course those Queens. It means that people are going to have to be a lot more creative with things. Shield batteries, no longer going to have as much energy off the spawn. There's definitely a lot of changes here that should hopefully change the early game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see like the actual true impact. So like Void Rays costing a little bit more, taking a little bit longer to build, but retaining their speed. I think the shield battery is going to be an interesting choice as well. Just eliminating some of its more aggressive tendencies, if that's even like a way to describe shield batteries. But the Queen one, I think, is going to be the one that I want to watch the closest, because not being able to transfuse off creep sounds like a nice way to nerf Queen walks, but it also kind of nerfs like pulling up on the ramp too, because if you've got a map where the creep tumor doesn't go down right away, I mean, if you have to wall up on the ramp, that's a no transfuse zone now. So I think there's going to be moments where Zerg players just like have to retrain their brain and defend in a slightly different way. And I think that's going to be interesting. But I guarantee you, at this point this year, someone is going to accidentally hold off on a ramp where they would have normally been able to transfuse and like hold a Ling all in and be like, ah, crap, I forgot that I couldn't like transfuse my queens, and then they just accidentally lose that game. So it'll be interesting to see for sure, as this game is now starting to get underway here. It's going to be Cloak Banshee once again, but you know, the tease has already been there once, Titan. Is this going to actually be a Cloak Banshee? I think this scout's going to get in far enough and realize that, well, you know, he's not preventing me from scouting all the way to the back of his base. More than likely, this is probably legit. And the Banshee's going to pop out, so that's going to be another tell.
Overlord does get complete scouting information, is in fact the Banshee is FORGG trying to dive in here with some Hellions, but the Ling's doing a very good job of blocking them off. And actually, I mean, you're not getting a lot of value for these Hellions at all. 3 of them alive, going to be able to get a shot off. 2 drones, 3 drones fall, but that's your entire early game army right there for FORGG that just went down.
Yeah, and that was actually very good positioning. It felt like everywhere that FORGG tried to run his Hellion, he just was not able to get any positioning, and the Queens are able to pick off the Banshee. This has gone from bad to worse here, as now Lings are going to be able to start harassing back at home. That second Banshee's not going to be able to move out across the map yet. Titan, it's got to be on defense duty.
And we'll start to pick off the low health Lings, and you're seeing FORGG here try and go into mech. That's 2 armories going down, but I mean, mech is good when you're ahead. Mech is great when you're at an even standing. You get your 3rd base up, you're able to harass. The fact that all of it got shut down, and now that FORGG has no real ability to get out on the map without worrying about DRG just collapsing and absolutely destroying whatever army he has. I mean, I'm already so worried here for our Terran player.
It's a great start here for DRG. He's got to be feeling very good about his position here. He's going to get a Spire down behind this, so mutas are going to be able to be an element, and honestly, I mean, I think those mutas are going to be able to get out a little bit faster than the mech of his opponent's going to be able to stabilize, especially with the lack of harassment at this point in the game. So despite the fact that +1 vehicle weapons and +1 vehicle armor goes down, despite the fact that the 3rd base is going to start being situated here as well, I mean, DRG is managing to navigate the tricky waters here and deal some early damage to his opponent.
I mean, you already have that 4th base going down for the Zerg at the same time as the 3rd for the Terran, which is never really a good sign. As the Spire is going to finish up, you're going to have, I mean, Mutalisk on the way, and it looks like FORGG is looking to go back to the Game 1 build. It's Thors, it's Banshees, but it's faster mutas now. You know, in the last game, the mutas were kind of a later option because DRG did commit so much of that early aggression, that early pressure that was ultimately defended. That's not the case here, as these Hellbats are going to morph. The ones just pull away, and now you have 3 Banshees and a whole bunch of Hellbats, and this is look a little bit dangerous, but Roaches are already out. So as long as these Queens focus down the Banshees, the Roaches stay on the Hellbats, I don't think this is going to get a lot of damage done.
Oh, this is going to be another well-executed hold here by DRG, and now the Muta's not even going to try and help out with the defense. They've got one target only, and that's the Banshees in retreat. They're faster, and they're going to be able to tap everything down nice and easy. So all of a sudden, the Banshees are taken out of the fight, and there's no anti-air at the 3rd base location here. Those workers are going to have to get pulled almost immediately, but that's now going to mean the Thor has to be on defensive duty once again, and FORGG not able to control the tempo that he wants to have here in game number 3 here. He's constantly having to play defense.
Yeah, the Thor in the main is actually going to get a lot of value, but I think DRG right now is just saying, hey, listen, honestly, losing a few Mutalisks for how much damage I'm getting at this point is worth it. I think he's absolutely correct. 14 SCVs already falling. He's at 84 workers behind this. I mean, 4 bases for the Zerg. Just going to look for a max out on Roaches and eventually a death push down on top of the Terran. And yeah, I mean, you lose your mutas, but you only committed 9 or so to it. That's so worth it for the Zerg player.
Well, and you got to feel like the Zerg player at this point is just trying to trade those mutas out as effectively as they possibly can, because now you want something that's going to trade better against those Thors. And if all of a sudden you show up with a maxed out army of Roach Ravager, that's exactly what you need as the Zerg player. And here comes DRG, 199 to 117. Close your eyes. This is rated This is rated mature at this point. This is not a great position. The Biles are going to come down and obliterate all of these heavy mech units. The repair not there this time around. And I think we're going to be on the verge of seeing a GG here in just a moment.
Yeah, I mean, the corrosive biles, the repair actually stopping the Thors from moving. Just not very pretty in that base. He's going to have to lift on up. But the base is gone. The supply is not there. DRG can still just max out as much as he wants. The Thors are going to fall. This Thor actually just going to be left alive before the roaches eventually turn on it. Cool guys don't look at explosions, they say. And now the mineral lines are under fire, and well, FORGG cannot afford to take any more worker damages. The other Thor is going to fall, and with that, the final hopes of FORGG being able to win this game are going to go. The most he can do is just hold on for as long as possible. And at that point, well, we're just kind of talking about pedantics as DRG is going to take the 2-1 and move on to qualify for GSL Code S.